deadline deal their ace, David Price. They've since dealt with some injuries in the starting rotation. The most recent move, Randy Wolf, who hasn't pitched in a big league game in more than a year, signed from Toronto, gets the ball tonight.
Well, I think that tells you everything you need to know about the Detroit Tigers and their season. They're still in it. They are not competing for a division title like originally thought, but we saw that just 3.5 games back of the wild card, and instead of going to a younger pitcher and maybe giving him an opportunity to pitch here, they're going to go to a veteran. They want somebody that has won before. They go to the Toronto Blue Jays. They pick up Randy Wolf, and they're going to count on him now to help fill some voids in that rotation.
Now he faces his former Brewers teammate, Yovani Gallardo, in this one. How about a couple of guys on the offensive side to watch for tonight, CJ?
Well, I'll tell you what, we got a couple of great draft pick guys, and here are tonight's DraftKings players to watch for me. Elvis Andrus got off to a little bit of a slow start, but this season he has been much better against left-handed pitching. He goes up, of course, against Randy Wolf tonight, and you see the .291 average, 4 home runs in his last 21 games. That batting average against lefties, by the way, .281 on the year. And on the Tiger side, Ian Kinsler, he's in the leadoff spot tonight, hitting .310 as a leadoff hitter, but he has been red hot in the second half, a .380 batting average.
High 70s. Light breeze, low humidity, perfect night for baseball as Jeff Bannister gets ready to send out this starting lineup. Delino to Shields lead things off, with Shin-Soo Choo has started to turn things on out of the 2 spot. Former Tiger Prince Fielder bats third. It's Beltre, Napoli, and Andrus in the middle of the order. Napoli, of course, a former Ranger, acquired again a couple of weeks ago from the Red Sox. So Dorr, Wilson, and Strasburger rounding out the lineup for the Texas Rangers. And Randy Wolf on his 39th birthday with his first start since last June.
Well, how about it? Welcome back, 39 years old. And really, what a perseverance story Randy Wolf has become here as a guy that very easily could have retired. He's been very successful in his career, but he decides to stick it out in AAA with Toronto Blue Jays, and it has paid off for him. And divide and conquer for me. This is a guy you cannot miss over the middle of the plate. We know about his stuff, so split that plate up into thirds, outer third, middle, and inner third. If you can stay there consistently, he'll be successful.
Impressive numbers, but those are all at AAA. A 92 with a .258, supported by this Tigers defense tonight. Collins, Ghost, and Martinez in the outfield. J.D. Martinez had his 14th outfield assist last night. That leads the American League. Castellanos much improved at third. Iglesias and Kinsler, the double play combo. Cabrera's at first, and James McCann does the catching for Randy Wolf. So we're ready to go with Delino to Shields. Sent to lead things off for the Rangers. Second in the majors since the All-Star break, averaging more than 5 runs per game, as they've charged back into the not just wild card picture, but the division race as well. And Wolf's first big league pitch in more than a year is a strike at 89. Off we go on a perfect night, Detroit.
And you got to wonder for Randy Wolf. Obviously, he has been there and done that. This is a guy who's been around the league for a long time, 382 games, but there still has to be some jitters for him. It's been a year away from the game, and I don't think that ever goes away.
Yeah, he's pitched for 16 years total in the big leagues. This is his 8th different team that he's pitched for. Ties him with a few other guys among active pitchers for the most teams played for in a career.
And one in this booth. As a lefty, you have a tendency to stick around a little bit. You have more than 9 lives, I think, for sure. But Randy Wolf has had them. I got to spend some time on 8 different teams as well. And it's the nice part about being left-handed. Somebody's always going to give you an opportunity.
Including these Tigers for a good chunk of your career. The Shields takes upstairs, and it evens up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the Rule 5 pick from the Astros. First big league season. Moved into the everyday leadoff role and center field role at the beginning of July. And he begins this one with a roller to third for Castellanos. 1 gone. How about our keys to the game tonight, CJ, presented by Ford?
Well, looking at both of these teams for the Rangers, don't be left out. They have a couple of their best hitters are left-handed. Of course, they got to go up against Randy Wolf tonight, and so that's going to be on Shin-Soo Choo and Prince Fielder as well to be good lefty on lefty, as well as Odor, who's near the bottom of the lineup. And for the Detroit Tigers, getting to Gallardo early. He has only gone 6 innings once in his last 6 starts. The Texas bullpen is much improved, so you want to get to Gallardo early.
The Shields retired on the ground out. Now Choo taking ball 1. This guy signed the monster contract prior to last season. 7 years, $130 million. and really struggled over his first year and a half with the Rangers. But since the All-Star break, he's been a different guy. And when you look at the numbers since the break, he's gotten back to being the guy that they signed to that big deal.
I don't care who you are, and we say this a lot. We've seen so many good players go through it. When you sign the big contract and change organizations in the process, there's a lot of pressure on a player. I got to think that Shin-Soo-Choo felt that early on, but he certainly bounced back nice here in 2015.
So the jam shot, Castellanos with a couple of putouts to start Randy Wolf's night. 2 up and 2 down in this first inning. Last full season for the 39-year-old was 2012. He missed all of 2013 after Tommy John surgery, and then bounced around to 5 different organizations last year alone, and included 6 big league games with the Marlins. That's the last time he's pitched in the majors. Prince Fielder, his first series in this ballpark since he was a Tiger. And pulls a bouncer to Cabrera at first. 1-2-3 with 3 ground ball outs to welcome Randy Wolf back into the big leagues. Tigers come to bat for the first time after this. Get some support from this Tigers lineup. That Ian Kinsler will lead off. And it's Collins and it's Cabrera, who's been incredible since coming off of the DL last week. Martinez, Castellanos in the middle. McCann, Iglesias, and Ghost rounding out Brett Ausmus's crew tonight. And Giovanni Gallardo goes to work with a foul back to begin his night. Kinsler's been the best hitter in baseball since the start of July, hitting .371 since June became July. Through a stretch where the Tigers went without Miguel Cabrera, he's been the bright spot of this lineup. And he's behind 0-2.
You see that breaking ball right there from Gallardo. The curveball at 78 miles an hour will be an important pitch for him to keep an eye on over the course of the night. The consistency of it really makes a difference. When he doesn't have it, he's just not the same guy.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Kinsler. Gallardo, 29 years old, out of Mexico originally. When he was young, moved to Fort Worth and grew up a Rangers fan. So it was a dream come true when he found out prior to this season that the Brewers had dealt him to Texas. Having a great year in his first season in Texas. Here's 1-2.
I think for a lot of guys, we've talked about the free agent market a lot this season, about all the great names that are going to be out there, but
Giovanni Gallardo really hasn't been mentioned as much as he probably should be. He's put together a nice year in Texas, only 29 years old. He'll be highly sought after this offseason.
And there was a stretch for a while there in July where it looked like almost a done deal that he was going to get traded before the deadline. The Rangers were kind of in between. Were they buyers? Were they sellers? Of course, they got Cole Hamels and they held on to Gallardo, who starts his night by getting Kinsler to bounce to Beltre. So Kinsler the first out. Time now for the Mobile One pitcher profile. Tell us a little more about Giovanni Gallardo.
Well, we're talking about his better half, and for me that means getting hitters to hit the top half of the ball. Like we saw that first round out there for Ian Kinsler, that is when Gallardo was at his best. He's had about a 50% ground ball rate this year, and there's no money in the middle. Just like we saw from Randy Wolf, this is not a guy who's going to overpower you. So the corners matter. Wants to stay out of the middle of the plate with this very good Tiger lineup.
And the ERA that was around 2.5 in the first half, but above 6 since the break. Tyler Collins attacking the first pitch, strike one. Collins, a beneficiary of the dealing that the Tigers did prior to the deadline. Yoenis Cespedes going to the Mets, and Collins with a consistent role opened up as a result. Gallardo's ahead 0-2.
There's that little kind of cutter up and in at 87 miles an hour right on the corner in, and that's how Gallardo will tie up those left-handed hitters, get them, keep them honest, keep them off the plate, still be able to work that changeup away.
Eight years with the Brewers for Gallardo. They drafted him in the second round back in 2004. Debuted in the majors when he was 21 years old back in 07. Is 0-2. And a hard hit ball to first. Napoli's got it with a backhand. 2 up and 2 down. 5 ground ball outs total in this first inning. So both defenses active early on. This Rangers defense has not been a strength. Second most errors in the majors, and by many defensive metrics, not just your basic ones like errors and fielding percentage. They're down around the bottom of the American League.
Well, if they want to contend and if they want to be able to stay in this thing, they're going to have to pitch, of course, first, but that defense is going to have to follow. You look at a guy like Gallardo, he's a contact pitcher. He's going to let a lot of balls in play. The Rangers need to make sure they're turning those into outs consistently if they want to hang in there on this wild card race.
Here is the incredible Miguel Cabrera, who missed more than a month with that calf injury. Returned from the disabled list last Friday, and CJ, in 7 games since returning, he's reached base 21 times to lead all of baseball.
I mean, this guy is just ridiculous. He is like no other, and there's always that conversation about Mike Trout versus Miguel Cabrera when it comes to MVP. When it comes to strictly hitting, it is not even close. The things that he can do at the plate are unbelievable. Great strike zone awareness. He knows how to use the field, and he can use the field as good as anybody else. And you see him right here and kind of looking back at home plate umpire Vic Carpazza. That pitch was probably down, and when Miguel Cabrera tells you it was a ball, it's probably a ball.
Another breaking ball, and yeah.
Funny how that works.
Right.
We'll call it even because that's a strike.
Message delivered.
Yeah. It's nice to have that kind of clout in the big leagues.
Kinsler and Collins both grounded out. Here's Cabrera with the bases empty, waiting on a 2-1. Generous outside edge, 2-2.
And I tell you what, and we saw that in the first inning as well, a kind of a generous call for Randy Wolf, and that's good news for both of these pitchers because you see, we haven't seen a fastball above, 90 miles an hour. These guys are more of your Greg Maddux types. They're going to work the corners, and if they can get a couple extra inches, it could be a quick night.
Cabrera's average at 363, far and away the best in the American League, but he doesn't have enough at-bats to qualify for that leaderboard because of his time on the disabled list. Now, if he averages about 3.5 at-bats per game over the remainder of the season, he will qualify, and barring a huge slump, would win another batting title. Goes the other way with an outside fastball and drops it into the right field corner. Cabrera's got his 4th double in the last 2 nights.
And this is what Miguel Cabrera does so well, like we just talked about, going to the well one too many times. He saw that pitch earlier in the at-bat. You can't show him the same pitch twice, not for a strike. not a fastball away. He's not going to try to pull that ball. He drives it to right field as he does as well as anybody in the game.
This is last night, had 3 doubles and didn't score a run. How about some help?
It's not easy to do, and Miguel Cabrera hitting one into what's triples alley for everybody else, stretching that triple into a double, which he does so well, but this guy can absolutely swing it.
Rangers won that game 2-0. Colby Lewis, 7 shutout innings after the Tigers took the opener on Thursday 4-0 behind a complete game shutout from Alfredo Simon. Victor Martinez taking strike 1. This has been a rocky year for him. Had that offseason surgery on his left knee and tweaked it several times earlier in the year. Spent time on the disabled list trying to give it rest, and has been better since coming off of the DL, but just has not been close to the same guy he was last year. Lifts a fly ball to center. Delino to Shields on the move, called off by Strasburger from left, and the inning is over. Gallardo pitches around a Cabrera double, and no score after 1. Joe Davis, game 3 of this 4-game series. Tigers took game 1 4-0. Rangers evened it up with a 2-0 win last night. Adrian Beltre takes ball 1 from Randy Wolf. To work the 1-2-3 first inning. Beltre trying to break out of his slump, 1 for his last 16. Sharply hit, base hit into center. First base runner of the game for the Rangers is Beltre's first hit of this series. So Randy Wolf making his first start more than a year, and he becomes the first former teammate of Brad Ausmus's to become one of his players. Here is Wolf pitching to Ausmus's his battery mate back when they were the Dodgers in 2009.
Well, I get an opportunity to visit him on the mound again, I'm sure, at some point. Hopefully to take him out after a good game, maybe late. But it's got to be a little bit unusual. Nothing makes you feel older than all of a sudden now managing a guy that was once a teammate. Yeah. But it's pretty impressive to see. I think Brad Ausmus has got to be enjoying that for sure.
They were together in Houston in 2008, and then together with the Dodgers in 2009. Mike Napoli takes one upstairs, ball 1. And somebody asked Brad Ausmus yesterday after the Tigers signed Wolf, how well do you know him? And Ausmus said, well, I've been to his house.
He hasn't seen him pitch in a while, but he certainly remembers his stuff, and I'm sure they're expecting it not to be that much different, even though it was, what are we talking, 6 years ago. Chances are Randy Wolf has not changed dramatically in that time.
Made his big league debut in 1999 with the Phillies when he was 22. And spent the majority of his career in Philadelphia through 2006. A couple of stays with the Dodgers. Time with the Astros. The Padres split in 2008. And that 3-year run where they went to the playoffs in Milwaukee. 5 games with Baltimore in 2012. Tommy John surgery shelved him for 2013. Spot duty with the Marlins last year. And signed the minor league deal with the Blue Jays prior to this season. Napoli offered 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Mike Napoli not happy with this call, but rarely is a hitter okay with the fact when they get called on this check swing. But I like that one. The head, the barrel right there looked like it went through the zone. I think that's a pretty good call.
McCann sets inside. Got into the hands, fouled off. Into the seats. And of course, folks around here quickly think back to last night. There was close to an 8-minute delay when a fan was hit by a ball. Fouled off by Anthony Gose late in that game. Fan went to the hospital. It has been released since. So good news on that front, but yet another instance of a fan sitting behind a dugout getting injured.
And that's kind of reignited the conversation what comes up every so often about should there be more netting in Major League Baseball? Should there be more netting down the lines? Justin Verlander brought it up post-game. He believes there should be. Brad Ausmus had similar comments. And anybody that's spending any time around this game, you're going to see it. Whether you're a player, a broadcaster, or a coach, it happens. You spend a lot of time in a Major League stadium, and it just scares you. Players hate seeing it. They always wish that the fans had a little bit more protection. And it's not even always about paying attention. We say that sometimes too, but balls get there so fast, especially in a situation like we saw last night.
Napoli swings through it. Strike 3. First punch out for Wolf. And 1 away in the second.
I'll tell you, Randy Wolf looks really sharp so far as we see the grip on the cutter right here. And it's the location, as I mentioned in the beginning, not leaving anything in the middle of the plate. That's what we call a strike to ball. That's a strike 90% of the way. And at the last second in a 2-strike count, it finishes off the plate, and Mike Napoli is unable to get the bat to it.
So 1 away for Elvis Andrus. Fading out of the 6th spot tonight. And a couple of hits in last night's 2-0 Texas win. Again checks on Beltre and gets him this time. Beltre came off of the bag, and Cabrera held the tag on him for the second out of the inning.
Well, Adrian Beltre is out there because he didn't slide. He decided that he wanted to go in standing up, and he bounces up off the bag. And this is why it is so important for fielders to hold the tag in this situation. See right there, too much coming back, cannot keep his left foot on the bag. And that's a nice job by Miguel Cabrera. We see a lot of people sometimes will do that kind of swipe tag and not hold it there, and that's why you hold it there in case that runner comes off.
Meanwhile, ball 1 to Andrus.
You see a little hesitation there as Beltre was trying to do the fake go. And Randy Wolf with a good move and a great call right there at first base.
Everything going right so far for him. Guy that had to swallow his pride and go to minor league camp for the first time in close to 2 decades this spring. And saw the Blue Jays continue to struggle with starting pitching and continue to give other guys opportunities. As he time and time again got passed over. There's a base hit into center for Andrus to keep this inning alive. He said he had faith that he would eventually get a chance, whether that was in the Blue Jays rotation or somewhere else. And while he was walking his dog the other day, got a call, he'd be headed to Detroit.
I tell you what, you have to admire the perseverance. And when you're a guy like Randy Wolf, who's been around for a long time, who's been successful in this game and financially has been successful, you know how much he loves it to be able to do that, because it is no walk in the park to go back to minor league camp, to spend time in the minor leagues, especially when you've achieved the level of success that Randy Wolf has had. I tried to do it at 39 years old. It is a humbling experience, but you also believe when you've been successful in the major leagues that you can do anything and that you can come back. And it's great to see this opportunity open up for him in Detroit.
Rougned Odor taking ball one. I don't know, you've mentioned it a couple of times. You never wanted to get to where you were 50 or 60 years old, look back and wonder if you gave it everything you had, if you played as long as you could have, and squeezed everything out of it possible.
100%. I think every player has to go through that and make sure that they're ready to walk away. We've seen guys try to come back. They think they want to retire, and then they go home and they realize, you know what, I miss playing the game. Whether it's Brett Favre playing football or Manny Ramirez playing baseball, right? We see guys that never completely get it out of your system. And I've had a lot of people along the way tell me, as I was kind of in that in-between phase, and they said, they're out of the game, and they're saying, make them tear the uniform off of you. There is nothing you're going to do in your life that's more rewarding than playing the sport. If you think you still have something left, you should absolutely take every avenue to try to get it out of you.
Of course, with Wolf, he had to come back from a second Tommy John surgery. He said if he didn't feel as good as he wound up feeling this offseason, he was going to hang it up, but he felt spectacular. Even though he only had one team that decided to come watch him throw, that was the Blue Jays. Of course, did sign him to that minor league deal. 2 balls and no strikes on Rougned Odor, who pulls one sharply, base hit into right. Third hit of the frame for the Rangers. First to third goes Andrews, and they're at the corners with 2 away.
Well, this is one of the first times that we've seen Randy Wolf behind in the count. That's another cutter. This one sits middle. He doesn't want to play in the corners in that situation. Odor does a good job of getting this ball in the hole. And JD Martinez, I think word is getting out. This guy's got a good arm. We talked about the assist in the Oakland when we set the defense, and all the things that he has done well since leaving Houston. We're always about the home runs and the opposite field power. This guy plays some pretty good defense as well.
Yeah, his 14th outfield assist last night. That leads the American League. Bobby Wilson with a 2-out opportunity. Catcher acquired just a few weeks ago. It has put up good numbers offensively since coming over from Tampa Bay. He was claimed off waivers July 31st, with the Rangers dealing their backup catcher, and then Robinson Chirinos going down in the DL. It's been Wilson and Chris Jimenez that have shared the duties and really been solid.
Losing your catching can be one of the most devastating things to a pitching staff, whether it's by injury or via trade. The guys that are usually out there, and with this Texas Rangers team, if they want to stay in this, they're going to have to pitch. And so to have kind of a new catching core, there's a time period in there. There's an adjustment period when you're throwing to new guys, but they have been really good lately, and it seems like that transition has gone pretty smoothly.
Backdoor breaking ball for strike 2 and 1. Saw Jeff Bannister's in his first season as a big league manager. Spent 3 decades in the Pirates organization as a player, and then a minor league manager and a rover.
It's a lot of decades.
That is a long time. Wilson shoots one in the air to right. Back goes Martinez to pull it in and finish the inning. Wilson gave it a ride, but Martinez ran it down, and Wolf with a pair of scoreless frames. 6 and 7 for the Tigers in this inning. JD Martinez ready to lead it off against Giovanni Gallardo, whose first pitch of the second is down and away for ball 1. Martinez celebrated his 28th birthday yesterday, and it's remarkable to think about how different his life is as a 28-year-old than it was as a 26-year-old when he was in Houston, finishing up his final season there as a guy that hit around 230 with not much power, was released the following spring training, picked up quickly by the Tigers, spent some time in AAA, was called up, and then had a monster campaign last year and followed it up with his first All-Star season this year.
Oh, I love his story. You know, watching him, first of all, how great it's been. Another good redemption story in Major League Baseball. But this is a guy near his end of his tenure in Houston who realized he had some soul searching to do, did a lot of work to get back where he was. And that's what we see from him, that good ability to drive the ball to right field, even though that's only a base hit. We've seen home runs there as well. This guy has really gotten it done since he's been here, and it's good to see, because you've been in that situation where you're thinking, man, my career's at a crossroads. What is next for me? What is going to be able to happen? He's made the adjustments. He goes back to AAA. Another organization gives him a chance. And here's JD Martinez now in the middle of really 2 back-to-back great seasons.
It comes after he totally revamped his swing towards the end of that 2013 season. So around that 26th birthday, while he was on the disabled list and didn't have much time, or didn't have anything else really to do at the time, started watching some other guys who had different swings than his. And started off with Jason Castro, who was on his own team. And you started looking at Miguel Cabrera too, and that was the guy that really jumped out to him before he even became teammates with Cabrera. Watched a ton of film on him, revamped that swing, and has changed his career.
If you're going to watch anybody, certainly Miguel Cabrera is a good one to watch, and the approaches are similar. The ability to spray the field, and JD Martinez was smart to do that, and I read a lot of that same stuff, and I wrote about him a little bit on FoxSports.com, and it was become about keeping the bat in the zone a lot longer. And it's kind of a common phrase that we hear a lot, but it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. He had a little bit more of an uppercut, so his timing had to be perfect to be able to get a ball. Well, now he stays in the zone a lot longer. It's a lot flatter, and that's why you're seeing more consistent, strong contact.
1-2 on Nick Castellanos. Yeah, so he goes from learning from Miguel Cabrera just by watching film of him. And he now gets to take batting practice of the same group as him every day. Gets to pick his brain all the time. And didn't get off to a great start this year, but got a piece of advice from Cabrera, who said just think more about rhythm and mechanics, and turned it around soon after that conversation. He's at first to start this inning, and a 1-2 to Castellanos. 2-2.
The ability to have a guy like that you can lean on every day over the course of a season, that cannot be understated. And Miguel Cabrera comes across as a guy who probably doesn't think that much, although he does. And obviously, he's a bright guy, and he can do some great things in the box. He's also the guy that probably has the most fun in Major League Baseball when he's out on the field. He's relaxed no matter what's going on, and relaying that message to JD Martinez, I'm sure, something.
Castellanos with a base hit to left, and the Tigers with back-to-back singles to start this second. 2 on with nobody out against Gallardo. Well, next Saturday, MLB on Fox Sports 1 returns with a doubleheader. It's the Red Sox and the Mets, who have a full 5-game lead in the National League East entering today's action. And the Yankees, a narrow lead in the American League East, taking on the Braves. Next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, right here on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Some big market teams next week, 2 in New York, 1 in Boston. I'll be doing that Yankee game in Atlanta.
Speaking like a true TV guy.
I'm getting there.
Here's James McCann. Young catcher for the Tigers, who's become the featured catcher. Door was open when Alex Avila went down with the injury, but he's taken full advantage of the opportunity. Ball 1. First full big league season. Checks in at 270. But has done a great job defensively, and even as a rookie has been a really nice leader for Brett Ausmus's team.
So we got to see in that shot Alan Trammell coaching first base for the Detroit Tigers, which I'm sure is a thrill for him, but also for these Tigers fans to be able to see him back in uniform in his number 3. We got to talk to him a little bit before the game. I had the honor of playing with Alan Trammell back in 1995 and 1996. And what a tremendous guy. I mean, he really represents everything that this city and this organization is about. So he is filling in as the usual third base coach. Dave Clark is away. Another former teammate of mine. His daughter is getting married. It'll also make you feel old when your teenage children are getting married. But what a cool moment. And we see the 1984 World Series flag and Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, such big parts of that in the history of this organization.
McCann lifts a fly ball to center. Routine forward to Shields. And Martinez will hold it second. And so with that, Omar Vizquel, who's the normal first base coach, moves across the diamond to third. Clark expected back soon. There is Vizquel.
A lot of people saying maybe a manager one day. His name comes up here and there, and it's so rare that we see a guy who was as good as Omar Vizquel was that would even be interested or could put the time. And we're losing a lot of our greatest players that necessarily don't want to become coaches. So it's good to see Omar Vizquel all the way in. And it's a guy whose name will probably be coming up, I would think, this winter when some openings happen in Major League Baseball.
Speaking of slick fielding shortstops, there are some people who have compared Jose Iglesias, at least his ability as a young guy, to Omar Vizquel. Not only has he fielded it, he's turned into a really good hitter as well. Take strike one from Gallardo. That average at .304 for Iglesias.
I think that's probably the bigger surprise. You always knew that he had the glove when he was with the Boston Red Sox. I remember seeing him in AAA, but the bat at the big league level, I don't think anybody thought they were going to get this kind of production out of Jose Iglesias.
One of the best hitting shortstops in baseball this year.
He's going to have some competition down in Houston as far as we're kind of seeing a golden age, I think, of shortstops a little bit. But talking about Carlos Correa with the Astros has been phenomenal. He may be at the top of the list right now, and he has not even been up the entire season. But there are some good shortstops right now, especially around the American League. We went through that nice period where it was Jeter and A-Rod and Cal Ripken and Nomar, Miguel Tejada. We're starting to see that now just a little bit more. Some of the really good shortstops around baseball.
2 on with 1 out. And a 1-2 to Iglesias. Just misses, and it evens up 2-2. There's some really tight award races in baseball this year. American League Rookie of the Year would not be one of them.
Definitely not. That will be a cinch now. National League Rookie of the Year, that one is certainly going to be tight, but you're right. In the American League, it is Carlos Correa and nobody else.
National League, who you got right now?
That's tough. I mean, there's so many good choices, and we seem to have a lot of up and down. But right now, Matt Duffy, for me in San Francisco, is probably the leader. I think a lot of us thought Jock Peterson, Chris Bryant, those were going to be the two guys. Noah Syndergaard has to get some consideration as well. Unfortunately for the Phillies, Maikel Franco ended up getting hurt, but he was in that conversation as well. But there was no shortage of legitimate candidates this year. But right now, Matt Duffy's leading for me.
Iglesias bounces back to the mound. Gallardo gets one at second, and that's all. Andrews holds on to it. Iglesias runs well and reaches first on a fielder's choice. How about your former Korean League teammate, Jung Ho Kang?
That's right. That's another guy that has to be in the conversation. 2 home runs today. He's now up to 12 on the year. Some people don't like that necessarily because he's 28 years old. He played professionally in Korea. He and I were teammates for the Nexen Heroes back in 2010, and I didn't even realize he was going to be this good. He just started kind of coming into his own back then. He has been so valuable for that team.
Yeah.
They had all those injuries. Jordy Mercer, Josh Harrison, all of a sudden they were short in the infield, and he's filled in really nice, and maybe has now taken over that shortstop job from Mercer, who will be returning from injury pretty soon.
At the corners for the 9-hitter Anthony Gose in a scoreless game. 2 gone in the second. And Gose bunts one in front of the plate, testing Wilson. And the inning is over. So the Tigers put him at the corners, but can't get anything to show for it. No score through a 2. game as we begin the third. The 9-hitter Ryan Strasburger takes ball one from Randy Wolf. Strasburger getting an opportunity because Josh Hamilton has continued to deal with nagging injuries. Went down in the DL earlier this week. Strasburger made his big league debut on August 5th. And the numbers pretty solid so far. 286 in 11 games. Guy that debuted a couple of weeks ago against a guy that debuted in 1999. 1-2.
What we're seeing from Randy Wolf is kind of a consistent stream of off-speed pitches. You see a 1-1 curveball there, and a lot of times you don't want to see that until after you've gone through the lineup, but kind of gives you an idea where he is at right now, where his strength is. It's going to be all about mixing and matching, not doing too many things in a row consecutively. He goes curveball there, then fastball up, but he's trying to go down and away. But this is a guy that's crafty. This is a guy that understands that, and if you can be consistent at hitting his spots, realistically, you could probably get him through 5, maybe 6 innings. Cutter in.
Used it effectively. Flex foul. Stays at 1-2. Tonight's game is brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. No score, top 3. And Wolf comes home with a 1-2 pitch. Acquired by the Tigers on Thursday from Toronto as Detroit tries to make an improbable push down the stretch. They've won 3 of 4. Coming to the game 3.5 back for that second wild card spot. The Tigers got off to that fantastic start. They were 11-2 at one point. Led the Central as late as May 17th. But since then, Tigers with the worst record in the American League. Strasburger floats one into right center that J.D. Martinez runs under for the first out of the inning.
Well, that's really the beauty of the second wild card. Now you get a team like the Detroit Tigers, who under normal circumstances would be playing really for nothing potentially at this point in the season, but because they're 3.5 back, they would go out and get a guy like Randy Wolf. If they were completely out, if there was absolutely no chance and no wild card, they're probably not giving a 39-year-old veteran a chance. But why not? It's inexpensive to pick him up at the league minimum for 6 weeks of the season, and you never know what can happen.
10 teams entered today within 3.5 games of a playoff spot. And includes the division leaders at this point. So 7 teams fighting for those 2 wild card spots. As the lineup turns over, Delino to Shields, who grounded out to third, bats for the second time. Pulls one sharply, past it, drawn in Castellanos. Collins has to hustle and gets to the ball to keep Delino to Shields to a single. Throw gets away, but DeShields hangs on and anchors at first. Time now for a game break. Let's check into the studio with Chris Myers. Yeah, Chris, Rangers start the day tied with Baltimore in the search for that second wild card, half game back of the Angels. And Shin-Soo Choo comes up with DeShields at first and one away.
And what makes it so fun too, we talk about the Rangers being right in it, the Baltimore Orioles being right in it, and the question is pretty consistent for all of them. It's something that they have to do well the rest of the way that maybe they haven't done so great over the course of the season, but if you can do it well for the next 6, right, for the Rangers and the Orioles, and really for the Tigers, it's about starting pitching. Can you get enough starting pitching to keep you in it and give you a chance to get to the postseason? And it'll be an absolute battle here down the stretch.
It's already picked one guy off.
Well, this is great. So even though he gets back safe, even though Beltre actually got back to the bag but was tagged out for coming off the bag, what this does now, it's just slowing these runners down. They're going to be a little bit more hesitant. They're not going to get those good secondary leads.
Drops in a strike to Choo. Rangers have won 7 of 9. What a streaky year this has been for them. I mean, we're not talking just your regular ebbs and flows of a baseball season either. We're looking at months at a time where they rotate from being the best team in the majors to the worst. Chu takes strike 2.
I think for Jeff Bannister, that's going to be one of the main reasons that'll have a couple of extra gray hairs this year. It always comes with every manager, and you see something going well, then you see your team start to struggle, or maybe there's an injury. The bullpen is really good for causing stress for a major league manager. He's gone through that as well this year, but they're where they need to be right now, and they're in striking distance, and so it's all about looking forward.
Yeah, he said earlier that 29 previous seasons in baseball, you obviously see a lot. He thinks that in this first year as a manager, he's seen all those things he saw in his 29 years prior to being a big league manager.
Well, it's been unbelievable, and you think about taking over this team and thinking you have a chance to compete, and one of the first pieces of news that you get is that your ace, Yu Darvish, is going to miss the entire season. That was a tough blow for them to take. So you see another throw from Randy Wolf, who's doing a really good job, and it's nice to see Miguel Cabrera have his glove on the entire time on those throws, as we saw him last Tuesday messing around a little bit, had his hand out of his glove. That wasn't
no.
Was that a young Miguel Cabrera?
That was a young Prince Fielder.
Yes, it was.
Foreshadowing the guy that's going to bat next.
There we see the throw over.
What we meant to show you was Tuesday at Wrigley. He didn't have his glove on.
It's interesting as he tried to kind of throw his glove at the ball, but in Miggy's world, everything just seems to work out.
Yeah.
The ball bounces right back to him, and he throws a strike to Jose Iglesias. You see the runner look back like, what just happened?
Living right when stuff like that happens. Wolf really holding runners on. That pickoff throw, already one successful pickoff of Adrian Beltre.
He has thrown over to first base in this game more times than John Lester has thrown over to first base in the last 2 years. 3 times John Lester has done this. It's obviously been a big problem, getting a ton of national attention. Not a problem for Randy Wolf.
How big of a concern is that?
It's legitimate. I mean, John Lester's having a nice year. Jake Arrieta's having a nice year. You think about the top of the rotation, and people keep talking about, what about the one-game wild card? Who would you want to have? And that has to come into the equation, that John Lester is having a hard time holding runners, that he can't throw the ball to bases right now. It is in his head. It's a legitimate concern, and you hope that he can get it figured out, because you don't want him to have a Rick Ankiel or Chuck Knobloch kind of situation where he gets so locked up mentally that he can't throw over. But it matters, and it's important.
Chu shoots one through the hole on the left side for a base hit. Shin-Soo Choo has now reached in all 27 games that he's started since the break. 2 on with 1 out here in the third.
Well, Shin-Soo Choo has been a different guy, but this is a great approach against the left-hander. You're going to get a lot of off-speed pitches. He's been working that breaking ball away, and instead of trying to pull it and potentially rolling into that double play, he just stays on it, doesn't try to do too much, finds himself a hole.
There's the numbers. We told you about how streaky this team has been. This recent hot run has been thanks in part to what Shin-Soo Choo has started to do. Jeff Bannister told us prior to the game today that they had a talk just before the All-Star break, and Choo, a guy who is real hard on himself, carries the weight of that big deal that he signed. Bannister simply told him, you know what, I think you're still a superstar. We need you to start thinking the same thing. The confidence starting to rise for Choo, and you're seeing the results.
I think a lot of people will think, they hear that, they see that $130 million, all your problems are gone, right? Well, no, not necessarily, because all of a sudden now the pressure mounts, and a lot of guys just don't sign the dotted line and think, okay, I'll just go do whatever. They still want to perform, they still want to be great, and there is pressure to live up to that contract, and there's extra pressure for Shin-Soo Choo because he comes from South Korea, and the entire country is watching him, and he wants to do well, and he doesn't want to let those people down.
The Rangers, since July 20th, have the second best record in the American League. Only Toronto's been better. You go back to before that run, when they were kind of in between, are we buyers, are we sellers? They trailed the division by 9. That's been chopped down to 4. Trailed the wild card by 7. It's been chopped down to a half game. 2 balls and a strike on Fielder. You mentioned the starting pitching has not been great, but the offense since the All-Star break, one of the best in baseball.
Well, I like what they did at the deadline. I like that they really didn't declare whether they were one or the other, right? The Cole Hamels acquisition for them means that it can be a short and long-term move because they have him for 3 more years after this one under contract. And you're thinking, okay, him and Darvish next year are going to be great, but also he can help us this year. And they don't move Gallardo, which says he can also help them this year. And the little moves that they did make they weren't gigantic ones as far as the rest of 2015. So they could still compete this year potentially if they got it together, but they also kind of made some moves for the long term. So it was a really good mix. John Daniels, I think, had a really good trading deadline, and here they are finding themselves right in the thick of the wild card race in late August.
Yeah, in addition to the Hamels deal, some quiet ones. They got Diekman with him. Dyson added the bullpen from Miami. Napoli, Venable added to bolster that bench and lineup. And Holland and Perez both coming back from injury. 2-2 on Fielder. He takes just off of the plate and runs it full.
Randy Wolf knows he has to be careful here. It's a first and second situation. Only one out, but because of the fastball, because he's not registering big numbers, and you're facing big Prince Fielder here, whatever side of the plate he decides to go with, he knows he has a very small margin of error. Does not want to miss with anything over the plate to Fielder.
Former Brewers teammates, these guys. Randy Wolf, Prince Fielder. Two on with one out, a scoreless third inning. And Wolf to Fielder with a 3-2. Hit hard, base hit into right. Martinez has a strong arm. He'll go to third. It's cut off by Iglesias. And to Shields, who read it well and runs well, scores the game's first run on a base hit from Prince Fielder.
Well, Randy Wolf kind of catches a break there that Prince Fielder did not get under this ball because he hit it hard. So it was a little cutter over the middle of the plate. Was trying to go in, missed middle, just like I was talking about. Look at that swing. Look at the bounce of the head right over the middle of the plate, not going forward on that back leg as well. And if he got under that ball, he would have hit it a long way. And that's a smart play by J.D. Martinez. If you're thinking he had a shot at DeShields, he did not. And what he allows there is that still to be a first and second situation by coming up and throwing that ball to second base.
So the Rangers in front 1-0. And 2 on with 1 out for Adrian Beltre. The second inning single was the first Rangers hit. They've now collected 6 singles over their last 9 at-bats against Randy Wolf. '50th pitch of the night is cut on and missed, 1-1.
We almost saw the Adrian Beltre. That pitch was a little bit lower. Trademark of kind of going down to one knee, but because this pitch was up a little bit, it's another cutter. As you see the fingers on the side of the ball, you see the rotation right there. And that's a big swing right there by Adrian Beltre.
2 at second, Fielder at first, and here's a 1-1. Beltre hits a rocket to left. That's down for a base hit. Chu headed for the plate. Throw from Collins is cut off, and Fielder and Beltre with back-to-back RBI singles. Rangers have a 2-0 third inning lead.
Second time through the lineup, and we're starting to see some very comfortable swings. We saw the swing and miss from Adrian Beltre. Randy Wolf goes back to it. This one sits middle, and we talked about in the beginning, and we've talked throughout the game. This is the one area where he can't miss in the middle of the plate. He does not have the overpowering stuff, especially against a good right-handed hitter like Adrian Beltre. Mistakes are going to be crushed.
And with a second trip through, 4 consecutive singles brings Jeff Jones out for his first visit. Quick word for Randy Wolf. And now it's to face Mike Napoli. Lone strikeout victim for Wolf tonight. And a double play candidate. Pops the first one out of play, strike 1.
And again, you see the comfort level of that swing from Mike Napoli, and a lot of guys in the middle of that lineup want to jump on something early that they like, because we saw with Napoli's first at bat when he struck out, he had a hard time laying off of that cutter that was in off the plate. So when he sees a strike and he sees something middle, he's going to be aggressive and try to get to it early.
Hit his 200th career home run earlier this week against Seattle. 33 years old in his 10th big league season. Second stint with the Rangers. Takes one inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Drew Verhagen warming in the Tigers bullpen. Pen has been an issue all season for Brad Ausmus's team. There's a 1-1 to Napoli. And there's strike 2. DeShields, Chu, Fielder, Beltre, all with singles after Strasburger flied to right to start the inning. The Rangers, who have been as good as any team in baseball in the early innings this season, off to another early lead. One, 2.
Seen Randy Wolf also kind of step off a couple of times and ask McCann to go through the signs. That's another adjustment. First time ever throwing to him. Kind of getting on the same page can take a little time, especially when you're working with a crafty veteran who's probably going to get away from what you see traditionally in a game plan as far as how he's going to use his fastball. So we've seen a little bit of that this inning. They struggle to stay on the same page.
2-2 on Napoli. James McCann was 7 when Randy Wolf was drafted.
Which means he was like 2 when I was drafted.
You brought it up, not me.
Oh boy.
Here is a big Nitkowski fan, though.
Probably. I'm sure he's got the jersey.
Which one?
The Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks.
Here's a 2-2. Climb the ladder to stay alive. Jerseys that Wolf has worn: Phillies, Dodgers, Astros, Padres, Brewers, Orioles, Marlins, Tigers.
Of course, you also have the Diamondbacks, the Angels, and the Blue Jays in the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And he went to spring training with the Seattle Mariners a couple of years ago and was let go at the end of spring training in 2014. It has been quite a journey for Randy Wolf.
Trying to limit the damage in this third. Here's another 2-2. And Napoli collects a base hit. Fielder hits third and comes home. Collins' throw up the line, and it hits Fielder on its way home, trickling all the way to the dugout. Beltre to third, Napoli to second. RBI single for him, and it's 3-0 Texas.
Well, this was a really good at-bat from Mike Napoli and kind of learning from the first one, but see a changeup down here. Look how it goes out in front of it, goes down to get it. Serves it into left field. Really good balance, but watching Prince here, I think he was a little surprised to see him slow down coming around. Oh, you want me to run? And a good throw probably would have had him, but unfortunately it hits him right in the right shin and then kicks off to the left, so kind of a bad break there. Good throw. Fielder's probably out.
Tony Beasley was putting his eggs in that basket. The ball would hit him on the way home.
Yes.
Ball one to Elvis Andrus.
Always funny when you see a big guy coming around the bases, looking up at his third base coach like, you're gonna stop me here, right? You're gonna stop me, right? And he keeps waving you. You got to try to go back from whatever gear you were in. You go down one and then back up another.
3 runs in the bank. Chance for more. 1-0. Andrus laid on it. 1 ball, 1 strike. He singled in the second. Five consecutive base hits for the Rangers after the 9-hitter Strasburger flied out to right to start this inning against Wolf. Second and third with one out. The 1-1 pitch to Andrews. Breaking ball, flexed up the middle. Iglesias can't get it. Kinsler can. Heck of a play.
Wow.
A run still scores. Andrews out at first, 4-0.
I don't know if Iglesias was fooled by the spin on this, or I don't think Kinsler called him up. But you see him kind of alligator arm it, and that's a ball that he probably should have caught. That's a great job by Ian Kinsler to stay focused on that, because a lot of times, especially with the ball being on the shortstop side of the bag, you're going to assume that your shortstop is getting that. That's a really nice play, and the Texas Rangers are thinking about challenging it at first. And ultimately they decide not to, but what a strange play, especially from our vantage point, to watch Iglesias kind of go for it, then not completely reach for it, but a great reaction by Ian Kinsler.
Rougned Odor. Napoli up to third. And after a pretty efficient first couple of frames, this is the 35th offering of this third inning for Randy Wolf. And it's way high, ball one. 39th birthday for the West Hills, California native. When he found out on Thursday that he was headed to Detroit, he said, I think it's a 4-hour trip. He's so excited he'll make it in an hour.
Never gets old. That phone call that you get, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how long you've been around, to get the phone call that says you're going to the big leagues, it is as exciting as the first time you were told.
Got to imagine this one is a little bit extra special too, because I'm sure there were times where he was wondering if he'd get that call again. Is 1-1 to Odor. Slides away, 2-1.
He was feeling good and obviously happy with the way that his year was going in AAA, and asked the Toronto Blue Jays if they would release him to give him an opportunity to maybe go somewhere else, and ultimately they were able to deal him in a cash deal to get him over here. But you definitely go through that period where you're wondering if you're ever going to get out of AAA, especially that late in the season for Randy Wolf.
Odor, the 8th man to bat in this inning, has Napoli at third with 2 gone. He waits on this 2-2. Off the end of the bat, into shallow center. Collins and Ghost. It's Ghost to put an end to the inning. But 5 consecutive singles, plating 4 runs in support of Giovanni Gallardo. Delano DeShields started that third inning rally with a base hit, the first of 5 in a row for the Rangers to plate those 4 runs. And the Tigers playing from behind, 4-0 bottom 3, top of the order. Ian Kinsler against Giovanni Gallardo. Ball 1.
And of those 8 hits, not one extra base hit.
No.
For the Texas Rangers, and a little frustrating for Andy Wolf, but also not surprising when you have a lefty like that working the corners with not overpowering stuff. You're not going to see a lot of that contact, at least a long ball kind of contact. The Rangers have done a good job of putting the ball in play and getting their base hits.
And Kinsler leading off this third with a bouncing ball to Beltre. 1 out. Look at that. Not too far down the road is, of course, Ann Arbor. Those Michigan students dressed up like Coach Harbaugh.
That is fantastic. I love those hats.
Yeah, I got the synergy there. Michigan and Tigers themed hats. Of course, Michigan will kick off its football season in the Harbaugh era on Fox Sports 1. 2 Thursdays from now in Salt Lake City against Utah. One of the great underrated atmospheres in college football, Rice-Eccles Stadium. 2 Thursdays from now, right here on FS1. So 0-1 to Tyler Collins. 2 hitters behind 0-2.
How about the game face on those dudes?
Oh, yeah.
They were taking it seriously. It wasn't a joke.
Gallardo. This is upstairs. Looks like Wilson was maybe crossed up. My bad, he says.
Be happy that nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Certainly Vic Carpazza sitting behind home plate is be a little more comfortable if everybody had their signs together.
Home with a 1-2. His first punch out of the night retires Tyler Collins, and we go to Chris Myers for a game break. All right, Chris. Here's Miguel Cabrera. Mike Fiers with a 5th big league no-hitter this season. It's the 2nd consecutive year there have been 5 major league no-hitters. You know, it's only the 3rd time ever there have been back-to-back years with 5 no-hitters.
Well, I think that really speaks to the era that we are in right now, is offense is down and pitching is up. And how interesting and how great for the Houston Astros, and what an acquisition Mike Fiers has turned out to be. This is already a very good rotation. Dallas Keuchel at the top and Colin McHugh. Of course, Scott Kazmir as well. Now they have the guy near the bottom of their rotation throwing a no-hitter as they try to capture an American League West title. They have to be very excited in Houston right now.
Yeah, the 2 other times there have been back-to-back years with 5 no-hitters. One of them is kind of 90-91.
Okay.
The other time 68-69.
I knew in 1968 was most likely going to be in there.
Although you'd figure it'd be 67 and 68, right?
That's right, because the mound, of course, got lowered after that 1968 season. It was just a dominant time for pitching. Bob Gibson is the first name that sticks out when you think of 1968. If I'm not mistaken, I hope I don't put my foot in my mouth, that was a Tiger World Series year as well.
Cabrera with another base hit to left. Half of the Tigers' hit output tonight.
How did I not pick Miguel Cabrera as my DraftKings guy to keep an eye on? I don't know. Kinsler's killing me at 0 for 2. But we see a little kind of cutter slider there down and away. And this is what makes Miguel Cabrera so frustrating to face, because we saw him go the other way in his first at-bat. And then you see the same kind of pitch that's away. And this time he pulls it into left field.
So, yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh, my goodness.
We mentioned his opportunity to win another batting title. You know, he need 3.5 plate appearances per contest the rest of the way to qualify for what would be his 4th batting title in the last 5 years.
And for me, it just becomes all the more impressive because of where we are right now, because of the error. How hard we see guys throwing these days, and just the plethora of pitching that bullpens throw out there. I mean, that is what really makes it so fascinating, is that you're seeing 3, sometimes 4 pitchers a night. The guys are coming out late, matching up against you, right-handers that are throwing hard. And Miguel Cabrera continues to put up those unbelievable numbers.
He continues to smile. 0-1 to Victor Martinez. He is a little bit low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fly out to left his first time.
See the shift as Odor, shallow right field. We see a lot of that with both of these teams. We don't necessarily see a ton, but we certainly see a lot of it around baseball. And one of the things you keep an eye on, if Odor does field the ball there, it's an awkward throw. Guys are still, I think, kind of getting used to it, because you don't take reps necessarily out in right field as a second baseman and practice throwing the ball to first base. A lot of people think, what's the big deal? It's not that long of a throw. But when you have stood in the infield almost your entire life, and that's the throw that you have been making, and now as teams shift more over these last couple of years, it's not necessarily an easy thing to do.
Martinez goes after a high fastball and a lazy pop-up. Elvis Andrus and Beltre were both there. And it's the 18-year veteran Adrian Beltre pulling it in. 3 shutout frames for Giovanni Gallardo. Tonight, light breeze, low humidity. Couldn't ask for a better night. So Bobby Wilson takes strike 1 from birthday boy Randy Wolf, who allowed those 4 runs in the 3rd inning on 5 consecutive singles. All 8 hits for the Rangers so far have been singles. 8-9-1 in this inning. Here's an 0-1. Whoop. Out of his hand, ball 1.
And yeah, that's one of those times where you might want to dig in if you have the pine tar anywhere. I'm not saying he does, but it was a non-pine tar curveball right there. You don't see that too often, and it's not even that humid really. It's a pretty nice night here in Detroit.
A little better grip, same result though. 2-1. First start for him since last June, when he was thrusted into the Marlins rotation when Jose Fernandez went down with his Tommy John surgery. 2-2.
And for Randy Wolf, certainly there's going to be some adrenaline there, but one of the reasons that the Tigers brought him into the situation is because they feel like he was not going to be overwhelmed. Where if you go get a young guy and pluck one from the minor leagues like they have done a couple of times this year, you have to deal with trying to get a guy comfortable. That's not something they can afford to do right now, but still some adrenaline, I'm sure, for him being back in the big leagues this year.
Well, if you have a favorite baseball memory, you can go to hashtag MLB Memory Bank to share it. Hashtag MLB Memory Bank. Wolf to Wilson with a 2-2. Good job to fend it off. When you think about what the Tigers' rotation looked like recently, of course they lost Scherzer from last year, signed a huge deal with the Nationals. Rick Porcello had been really good, not as much this year in Boston, but Justin Verlander's been here for a while now. Recently, Sanchez and Norris both to the disabled list. There's a roller to third. Castellanos has been busy tonight. One away. Verlander, banged up for much of the year, has been their best pitcher over the last month or so. Alfredo Simon and Shane Green were brought in this season. Green has not been good at all. He's banged up. Simon coming off his best start, but it's been a miserable year overall for him. Of course, David Price dealt a few weeks ago, too.
Absolutely. It's been a surprise. I loved the Shane Green acquisition this offseason when Dave Dombrowski was still here. And he got off to a great start. The first 3 starts were fantastic, and then he just went in the tank. And when you have a sinker ball pitcher, very similar to Rick Porcello, he ran into the same problems. And all of a sudden, you lose that sinker. It's very difficult to get outs in the big leagues, and he's run into a ton of trouble. And they still believe in him long term, but he's got to get his situation figured out, and he's trying to do that right now in Toledo.
Strasburger hits a fly ball that'll hook foul. And close to home run distance to it, but is just strike one. Only Boston has a worse starter's ERA in the American League than the Tigers.
And I didn't love the Alfredo trade at the time, and Eugenio Suarez, who is now in Cincinnati, is doing a really nice job for them at shortstop. Not that there was a place necessarily here for him, but Simon had kind of struggled last year in the second half, and he was coming off his first full year of starting. Although his last start was really good, so he's an interesting guy in that regard, but it has been a mostly down year for him. There have been some ups, and the same thing for Anibal Sanchez, who really was expected to be a big part of the rotation this year.
Wolf collects his second strikeout. This time Ryan Strasburger the victim. 2 up and 2 down in this fourth, and back to the top of the order that got it done last inning. Delino to Shields started it all off with a base hit. 4 more of them would follow. Shu had a single. Then Fielder knocked in the first run of the game. Then it was Beltre making it 2-0. And then Mike Napoli came to the plate, made it 3-0 Rangers. Added 1 more later in the inning, 4-0. Our score here in the fourth. Strike 1 on to Shields. His 3rd trip up tonight.
We talked about it at the time. A lot of comfortable swings there, but also kind of some precise, good bat handling by guys like Chu. Good job by Mike Napoli staying in front of that off-speed pitch. Putting the ball in play. We've talked about it a bunch. Randy Wolf doesn't necessarily have to swing and miss stuff. The Texas Rangers right now are a good offensive team, and the fact that he actually has not allowed an extra base hit up to this point after going through the lineup twice, I mean, there's something to be said for that as well, even though it's not going exactly the way he would like.
Glass half full.
That's right, always.
Yeah. I don't think you pitched for 16 years in the majors without your glass being half full. The 1-1. Ball 2. .373rd career big league start for Randy Wolf. Trailing the Rangers 4-0 in the fourth, trying to work a 1-2-3 fourth inning. Here's 2-1, 2 Delino to Shields. On the ground to third, Castellanos throws him out. And a nice bounce back frame for Randy Wolf. Let's see if the offense can support it. J.D. Martinez, he had the 32 home runs and 81 knocked in this year. Leads off the Tigers' fourth after this. J.D. Martinez leads off the Tigers half of the fourth and drives one down the right field line, peeling foul. He's the best hitter in baseball, and the first pitch of the at-bat was just a little bit late on Gallardo's first offering, strike one.
You love the aggressiveness of J.D. Martinez, but he looks like such a veteran. Not only that he's aggressive on that first pitch, but he didn't try to pull it, right? He doesn't take that huge swing where he's trying to hit the scoreboard in left field. He knows himself, and he's willing to wait and see what he's looking for and take what the pitcher gives him, not try to pull outside pitches.
Goes in the same direction, down 0-2 as one of the 4 Tigers hits tonight. The second inning single. Castellanos followed with a single in that inning. Tigers had first and second with nobody out, but couldn't capitalize. Gallardo home with an 0-2. Elevated fastball left up there, ball one. Gallardo trying to have a bounce back outing here. He was so good in the first half, but hasn't had a quality start since July 2nd. That's 8 consecutive starts without registering one. 2-2.
What's so interesting because his last 5 have not gone particularly well. His ERA up at a 5.5, but he's 2-0 in that time. It just goes to show you the kind of run support that he has gotten from this Rangers team, and they're swinging the bats a lot better. We've talked about it a bunch, but the middle of the lineup right now with Shin-Chu Chu, a healthy Prince Fielder, of course Adrian Beltre, they were very formidable.
Over the inside corner with a fastball at 91, and Martinez the first out of the fourth.
Well, this is some mastery right here by Yovani Gallardo. Again, he does not overpower you, but we saw him work J.D. Martinez away early. First pitch fastball, tries to drive it the other way. He actually missed trying to go in, elevate the fastball there. Now try to get him to chase a breaking ball. He doesn't, and he executes this fastball in perfectly and well received as well by Bobby Wilson right there. Maybe a little bit off the plate, and he brings it back. Gives the home plate umpire a really good look. But that's a really nice job of working J.D. Martinez away. And he probably worked out better that he missed his spot in that second pitch, because up to that point, J.D. Martinez did not see one pitch inside. So he knows if he executes, he can probably get him looking, and that's exactly what happened.
0-1 on Castellanos. 1-1. Castellanos to single his first time. He started to heat up. How about the night he had in Chicago on Wednesday? 4 hits, including a couple of home runs, 5 RBIs. Tigers absolutely dominated the Cubs in those 2 games. 25 runs over the 2-game series. Made the Cubs look like the old Cubs. Cubs in 2014.
Well, it's fun too when you're an American League team. You get an opportunity to go to Wrigley Field, which does not happen very often. But to go in for a 2-game series, one of the greatest places to catch a game, some of the best atmosphere you're going to find in baseball. And the Tigers had some fun of their own at the plate. And I think for the Cubs, I mean, they've been playing great. It's been a great season. But all of a sudden, that offense comes in there and does that to your pitching. That's a little bit of a wake-up call.
Crowds there were about 40% at least Tigers. This is back Wednesday night, one night after they had a huge outburst. They had another. That ball was flying. 2 home runs for him, 3 others on the night, included one from Daniel Norris in his very first big league at bat. The Tigers pitcher against John Lester went deep into the bushes in dead center. Payoff on the way. Castellanos takes strike 3, and back-to-back fastballs looking for K's to begin this 4th inning.
This is a great job here by Gallardo. Twice in a row now where he is finishing off good right-handed hitters with fastballs inside. And that one was a little bit more of a 2-seamer. And Castellanos wanted to believe that was ball 4, but that was absolutely strike 3. Good pitch, good call, great execution.
Another good frame job from Bobby Wilson. Good framer himself, James McCann, comes up with the bases empty. 2 gone in the 4th inning. How much bigger emphasis is there now on framing pitches than there was when you were playing?
We always talked about it. The difference between now and, you know, back in the 90s and the 2000s when I was playing was that they now have found a way to quantify it, or at least they believe that they have, where they'll put numbers on it. But organizations were always paying attention to it. Pitchers always knew which catchers were the best receivers. probably one of the best that I had in my career, is now the manager of the Detroit Tigers, and Brad Ausmus. He was such a good receiver. He gave the umpires such a great look at the ball. He could get you that one that was down low and bring it up just a little bit and get you that called strike. And I've had some pretty good ones over my career, but he was definitely right up there as one of the best. But it's important, and it's good to see that that's getting a little bit more attention paid to it, because we've always known you've had your defensive catchers and you've had your offensive catcher. Mike Piazza was an offensive catcher. This guy could hit. Brad Ausmus was a defensive catcher, and you have your catch and throw guys. And so it's nice to see that that's getting a little bit of attention. I'm not going to tell you that I'm all the way in on the numbers. Sometimes, they're kind of there. I don't think you can take them as an exact, but it's good to see that it's kind of getting a little bit more attention. It's something new for fans to kind of pick up on.
Two and two on James McCann.
And I'm sure Tiger fans remember, as Rangers fans remember, Pudge Rodriguez as well, who I also threw to. I played for the Rangers briefly. He was pretty good behind the plate as well. Boy, did he have an arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never, and I tell you, for both these guys, for Brad Ausmus and when I had Pudge, you're not even really thinking about the running game. Guys aren't thinking about running. If there was a stolen base, it was 100% on you as a pitcher. If you did just an average job of holding runners, these guys were going to gun down any potential base stealers.
Here's a payoff. Up and into McCann. That's ball 4. And it keeps the Indian alive. We saw Brad Ausmus catch Randy Wolf earlier. Now we see Brad Ausmus catch C.J. Nitkowski.
Some of the worst times of his life, I'm sure, this poor guy.
You've got some moxie there.
Those are the only 4 guys I got out in my career. Appreciate you guys showing all 4.
We got video documentation, though. It was real.
Boy, look at those hands. He was great. Poor Brad those years. I mean, there were some lean years when I played here, 95 and 96, and then again 99 to 01. He left after the 2000 season and went to Houston and went on a really nice run there for about 8 years. But we were not a good team at that time, and we did not have a lot of good pitching. And he learned a lot, of good and the bad, during those years.
You guys were traded together twice.
Couldn't shake him.
Yeah. As Iglesias looks at a strike, 1-1.
One of those infamous 15-player deals between the Astros and the Tigers. We did it twice. I think we went 10 the first time and 9 the second time. Brad is. I'm glad to see him getting this opportunity. You always knew he was going to be a manager. There's certain guys you play with that you pick up on. He definitely was one of them.
Easy one for Andrews to handle. The Tigers are finished in the 4th inning. Brad Ausmus' team down 4-0 as we march out of the 5th. 4 runs on 8 singles for the Rangers. All 4 of those runs coming in the third. And Shin-Soo Choo ready to lead off this inning against Randy Wolf.
This is going to be an important inning here for Randy Wolf. Now going through the middle of the lineup for a third time. He did a nice job at the top of the 4th inning, and Brad Ausmus would love to see him get through this inning unscathed.
His first start since last June. Here at his 39th birthday, facing Choo, Fielder, and Beltre in this 5th. Choo is part of that 4-run inning back in the third. He had one of the 5 consecutive singles against Wolf and scored one of those 4 runs. In doing so, that single in the third inning extended his on-base streak to 27 consecutive starts. That's all 27 games since the All-Star break. Waits on this 1-1 from Wolf and bounces it back to the mound. Wolf is ready. Rainbow to first, and Choo the first out of the 5th inning. Major League Baseball, Minor League Baseball, and the U.S. Conference of Mayors are celebrating August as the inaugural Play Ball Month. More than 125 city mayors are hosting play ball events. To learn more, you can go to playball.org and get out and play. Choo is retired. Here's Prince Fielder, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI single tonight.
See him smiling through the booze a little bit.
One of the lead candidates for Comeback Player of the Year. Neck surgery last year in his first season in a Rangers uniform. Played only 42 games. And has been one of the top hitters in the American League all season this year. 0-1 from Wolf, and Fielder fouls it into McCann's mitt, strike 2.
Well, I think for me, it's probably a no-brainer on the Comeback Player of the Year. Some people asking about Alex Rodriguez as a possibility. It's a player vote, so probably not going to happen. But the year that Prince is having, I got to think it's going to be his.
Cracks his bat on a pop fly to center for Ghost. 2 up and 2 down at 7 straight retired. And this is Chris Myers. All right, Chris, in a 4-0 game here in Detroit as Adrian Beltre comes to bat. Wolf trying to retire him for the first time. That ball is hammered towards the left field corner, off of the wall.
Better hurry.
Collins plays the carom, and with a strong throw limits Beltre to a single. He hit it too hard.
They just wanted to keep the no extra base hit string intact for the Rangers, but Adrian Beltre absolutely smokes his baseball with the bounce right back to Collins, and a great throw. Adrian Beltre made it about, I don't know, a third of the way toward, maybe closer to halfway, put his head down, realized he better get back and get back quickly. It's a good execution by the Tigers to get that ball in quickly.
But like you said, that's 9 hits, 9 singles now. Frame kept alive for Mike Napoli. 1 for 2 with an RBI single himself in that 4-run third inning. Out of the 15 hits total in this series for Texas, 13 of them have been singles. The series tied at a game apiece. Tigers 4-0 in the opener Thursday. Rangers 2-0 last night. McCann setting inside on ball 1.
We've seen Randy Wolf use that cutter a lot inside to Mike Napoli. Struck him out in the 2nd inning with it in his first at bat. Got a base hit on an off-speed pitch. You just kind of wonder how many times he's going to be able to go to that well. He's going to try to work him away potentially with the fastball. You definitely do not want Mike Napoli to get his arms extended. There's that cutter again.
Beltre at first with 2 away, 2-1. Hit in the air to center. Ghost heard a loud crack and went back, but that came on and pulled it in. And that's the inning. Halfway home in Detroit, 4-0 Texas. On this Saturday night, temperature in the low 70s now. 4-0 Rangers. All 4 runs coming in the third. Anthony Ghost out of the 9th spot takes ball 1 from Giovanni Gallardo. Ghost came up with runners at the corners and 2 outs in the third, and bunted the first pitch that he saw in front of the plate and was thrown out. Bunts this one, foul, strike 1.
I was kind of surprised about the 2-out bunt. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. It's the greatest play in the world when you execute it, but when you don't get it done, it doesn't look like a very smart one. And I guess for Anthony Ghost, feeling more confident in his ability to get on right now by bunting and getting that run across the board, but I didn't love that play.
First-year Tiger. Came over from the Blue Jays this offseason. Most significant role he's played as a big leaguer. And 3 years as a part-time player in Toronto prior to this season, when he's had the majority of the playing time in center. Started off as pretty much a straight share with Rajay Davis, but he's gotten more and more of the work. And he's a strikeout victim of Gallardo to begin this 5th inning. So 1 away, back to the top, and Ian Kinsler, who was one of the many guys brought in by Dave Dombrowski, who spent 14 seasons as the GM, was part of one of the great eras of Tigers baseball, but was released from his contract on August 4th, ending that 14-year run. Recently locked down with the Red Sox, and Al Avila, father of the Tigers catcher Alex Avila, was promoted to the GM spot. Kinsler muscles one, shallow left, and Strasburger can't get it. Bounces off his glove, and Kinsler, good hustle to get to second.
Well, that's great awareness by Ian Kinsler to bust it out of the box, never assume anything. And as soon as Strasburger dives for it and he sees it bounce off to his glove, he just missed it. A great attempt. Looked at his glove, realized he didn't have the ball. Well, maybe I overstated the hustle right there. Is actually Ian Kinsler was not busting out of the box, but nevertheless is still able to get to second base.
Good hustle between first and second.
Yeah, right. Credit where credit's not due.
He'll take it.
Such a player apologist I am.
Tyler Collins now with an RBI chance. Al Avila, by the way, was given a 5-year deal to lead the next era of Tigers baseball. Collins 0 for 2, ground out and a strikeout. Here's a 1-0. Bounce it off of the handle to first. Backhanded by Napoli. He'll take it to the back. Collins retired. And 2 gone for Miguel Cabrera.
You mentioned Avila and the job that he'll have to do. One of the biggest things, one of the biggest concerns is going to be rebuilding this rotation. Obviously, David Price has gone. Max Scherzer from a year ago. Justin Verlander is still here. There's going to be some guys out on the market. And it'll be interesting to see what the approach is going to be. Alfredo Simon is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I doubt he'll be back here. You don't know what you're going to get from Shane Green. So they're going to have some holes in this starting rotation next year. And it's a matter of how big do they want to go? How much money do they want to spend? What kind of guys are they going to go after? Because this team is going to continue to hit. This offense is not going anywhere. The heart of the order is going to be here again next year. It's just a matter of adding on to that rotation.
Cabrera chases one low and away, ball or strike one. He is 2 for 2 tonight. He's 7 for 8 in this series.
And stop me if you heard this before. They'll also have to address the bullpen.
Yeah, I think Tigers fans have been hearing that for years, even through this great stretch of 4 straight division titles. They've been able to overcome it over the last 4 seasons. So 0-1 to Cabrera. And he's behind 0-2. Doubled in the first inning, singled in the third, and now in 7+ games since coming off of the disabled list, has reached base 23 times.
It's incredible. I mean, that on-base percentage of .474 right now. This guy's just an absolute beast. Really the best in the game when you talk about his ability to hit and to get on base.
Voted an all-star, 10th time this year.
And you were mentioning earlier about the conversations that he had with JD Martinez, and I don't think that can be understated. There's a mental advantage as well. There's a lot of guys that have talent in this game, but it's your ability to find a mental place that makes you successful consistently. And it's obvious that Miguel Cabrera, for him, it is about being comfortable. It's about having fun. It's about being loose. He is not a guy that can play uptight. Some guys need to be that guy, right? Think about some of the intense players of years past. I always think a guy like Kevin Brown just always had to be cranky when he was pitching. That worked for him. And you get guys in the field that just are more of those kind of Jeff Kent intense type of guys. With Miguel Cabrera, in order for him to be successful, he's got to be having fun. He certainly is.
As Kinsler at third with 2 outs. And has one shot down the line and foul. Just misses his 3rd hit of the game and the Tigers' first run. Instead, we'll do a 2-2 once again. Kinsler with a 1-out double. He's at third after the Collins bounce out and a 2-2. Cabrera bounces it to third. Beltre backs up on it, gloves it cleanly to get him. The Tigers have gone 15 straight innings without a run, trail 4-0. Here's your DraftKings player reset. Remember, it's easy to play DraftKings. There are thousands of dollars in prizes every day. You can enter promo code BALLGAME to play for free at DraftKings.com. Elvis Andrus is one of your guys today, CJ. 1 for 2 with a base hit back in the second. And cues the first one from Wolf foul.
I never root for players. I don't want to be that guy in the broadcast booth, and I'm kind of getting behind the Randy Wolf story, but I'd also like to see Elvis come through here and make me look like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Certainly Ian Kinsler hasn't been that much help. He did get me a double.
He did get you a double.
I need at least 3 hits.
Doesn't matter how hard he hit it. Andrus bounces one to second. There's Kinsler defensively to throw out Andrus. And one gone in the 6th. College football returns to Fox Sports 1 when former Michigan quarterback Jim Harbaugh makes his debut as head coach of his alma mater. It's Michigan and it's Utah. Coverage begins Thursday, September 3rd at 7 Eastern. The only place you can see it is on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. You like that bus that was here today?
That is the most ridiculous thing, those pants. I love it.
Yep, the bus has khakis. I'm just glad that it's not a shirtless bus.
Yeah, well, we all do. We all are, I should say. Have you caught the Jay Glazer bus?
No.
Jay Glazer's got his own DraftKings bus that he's driving around the country.
Odor flies out to Ghost. 2 up and 2 down in the 6th inning. Is the bus jacked?
You know what? There's a huge decal or painting of his head. It is humongous on the side, but there's not a lot of upper body. I think it's all neck up. So I'm sure it's still intimidating folks when he's driving down the highway.
Yeah.
Well, seeing Randy Wolf right now in this inning is exactly why the Tigers wanted to bring a veteran guy. Think about if you bring a young pitcher in, trying to navigate his way through a big league lineup, especially one this difficult. And he has a 3rd inning like Randy Wolf had, where he allows those 4 runs. More often than not, a young guy is going to fall apart. You're not going to see him last through that game much longer. But Randy Wolf was able to go through the middle of the lineup again. And if he can complete this 6th inning here for the Tigers, I got to think that they would be thrilled with this outing.
So on to Bobby Wilson. Only 1 base runner since that 4-run 3rd inning. It was a single from Adrian Beltre in the 5th. Beltre has 3 of the 9 Rangers singles tonight. Wolf's 1-1. Wilson. It's a curve foul. And Wolf ahead of him 1-2. Could be the final batter that he faces. This will be his 99th pitch. All in all, pretty successful return to a big league mound. Drew Verhagen has been loosening for a while and appears primed to come in. 1-2. Low and away. Count evens 2-2 on Wilson.
And if you are thinking that you'd like to be a relief pitcher in the big leagues, that's part of the game that people never think about. Warming up, 2nd inning, 4th inning, and now being ready to go potentially here in the 6th. If not, maybe he starts the 7th inning. It's not a lot of fun. That is the hard part, learning how to manage that, especially when you're young, not to warm up too much, not to throw too many pitches.
Sure has been efficient outside that 3rd.
It's been a good outing. Like I said, overall, I mean, those base hits, the Texas Rangers did a really nice job of stringing those together. But other than that, Randy Wolf has put together a pretty good outing here.
101 pitches deep. And a strikeout of Bobby Wilson. So he retires 11, likely of the final 12 that he faces. And we roll on to the bottom of the 6th inning. College football season just around the corner. This bus won't let you forget it. Best start for Yovani Gallardo since early July. That ERA is above 6 in the second half. But he's into the sixth tonight without having allowed a run. Middle third of the Tigers order. Victor Martinez ready to lead things off. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Fly to left. Popped out to the left side of the infield. You're in the first year of his new contract. 4 years, $68 million that he earned with a monster 2014. He led all of baseball in OPS last year, but just hasn't been the same guy dealing with that nagging left knee injury.
And the one thing too, think about him missing some time in the offseason when you're dealing with an injury, trying to get healthy. Well, that means that cuts short your training time as well. Look at this.
It's Odor spinning and throwing wide, and Martinez reaches. Boy, if he gets retired there, he might as well just go home, right? Because if it's not happening there.
I would love to see a graph of the farthest that a second baseman has fielded a ball toward the right field line, because this is incredible, where you see where Odor is and where he's going to have to spin and actually throw this ball almost from foul territory. I mentioned it earlier how those throws can be difficult because they don't practice them. He has never made that throw, I'm going to say, in his entire career, spinning as he's about to go into foul territory, and that was almost a great play. And Gallardo's got out of there quick, thinking about Victor Martinez potentially running him over.
It is ruled a base hit. Leadoff man is on for the Tigers in the sixth. And here's J.D. Martinez. Has the capability to cut this lead in half with one swing. Instead, strike one. 1 for 2 today with a single and a strikeout. The last at bat, Gallardo started him away, and then came back in for the strikeout.
I don't know how guys pitch with those beards. It fascinates me.
He went, strike 2.
And I like that call there, and I like that they're willing to check, right? A lot of times we're seeing hitters get in arguments or pitchers get frustrated instead, with the home plate umpire not wanting to ask the first base umpire for help. For me, if it's even close, just go ahead and ask the first base umpire every time.
1-2 on Martinez, with the Rangers bullpen getting loose. It's a bullpen that much of the year has been the biggest issue for this team, but really good lately. Just 1 earned run allowed over the last week. Leadoff man on for the Tigers in the sixth, then a 1-2. Martinez hits it hard to second. Odor to Andrews to Napoli for a double play. And just like that, they're wiped clean. 2 away in the sixth. Time for a game break. Here's Chris Myers. And you've got a good story about their final. Was it their final game or their record-setting game?
When they broke the record, so they broke the record in 1995. Most games played together by teammates. Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, and I was on that team, and I was sitting in the dugout. It was my rookie year, and a foul ball trickled in, and I kept it.
Look out! We'll finish the story in a second, because for now, Nick Castellanos can run for days. He'll stop at third. The Shields took a chance, came up empty, and then Strasburg had to run it down.
But there are times you want your outfielders to be aggressive. There's times that you want them to be conservative. A 4-run lead with 2 outs and nobody on. I'm okay with this. The Shields just misses this ball by a couple of inches. That's the time to go ahead and be aggressive. For me, of course, though, in this outfield, how it gets deep in the gaps, it's going to be a triple every time. And an easy one for Nick Castellanos, but I'm okay with that play. That's a great effort by the Shields. But to finish that up real quick before we end up going to break, so the ball comes in the dugout. I kept it. I'm like, yeah, this is a foul ball from, what a cool moment in the history of Major League Baseball. And I had them both sign it, and I still have it sitting in my office. I actually got to talk to Trent before the game today. I hadn't seen him in years, and kind of brought that story back up to him. Just a tremendous guy.
Saw the line of the Shields taking a look at that hand and wrist after that dive. And a little bit of pain.
See him showing some frustration there, but just misses it. Looked like he even caught a little bit of his glove.
James McCann rolls it to second. Odor will throw him out. The Tigers leave another man. 2 hits in the inning, but no damage against Gallardo, who continues to lead 4-0. Runs on 7 hits for the Tigers, and we went away after the 6th inning saying that was probably it for Randy Wolf, but he proves us wrong. Back out there for the 7th to face Ryan Strasburger, and misses with ball 1.
Well, in the age of pitch counts, those pretty much go out the window when you're 39 years old. It's about maybe protecting the bullpen or trying to get a little bit deeper. I'm as surprised as you are. I thought that was going to be it for Randy Wolf.
Strasburger with a bouncer to a drawn-in Castellanos. 1 away. You can follow your favorite team and players all season long with MLB.com at bats, the #1 app for live baseball. Up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, statcasts, and plenty more. Get MLB.com at bat now. Trip number 4 through the Rangers order. Delano to Shields 1 for 3 today. And that diving attempt at Castellanos triple and rolled up on that left wrist. So a good sign for Rangers fans that he remains in.
Well, you have to think at this point at 103 pitches that it's probably batter by batter. But for Drew or Hagen down in the bullpen, he had thrown a complete game down there already.
Still going.
Oof. I miss playing. I don't miss that. That is it's not a lot of fun.
Strike 1 on to Shields. 6 1/3, and Wolf's return. 373rd big league start. First one came back in '99. This is his first one in more than a year. Awkward swing and a miss from the rookie to Shields, 1-2.
That tells you that there's still a little bit of life on that cutter, even as he gets beyond the 100 pitch mark. For DeShields, thinking he's seeing a fastball, but enough late break. That ball ends up a lot further in than he anticipated.
McCann setting inside for this 1-2. Left-handed hitter and Chu is on deck. Here's a 2-2, and DeShields takes right down the middle for strike 3. It's the 4th punch out for Wolf and the 2nd out of the 7. Let's see what's going on in the social world now. Tag your posts with hashtag SwingDataData. T-Mobile will keep the conversation going. Data strong all season long. This is from Darcy Lefevre.
I see what they did there.
Yeah, you get that?
Creative.
Mm-hmm. I read it first as like swing data. Is it a misprint? Why is it dated twice? Here's Chu. On-base streak extended to 27 starts in a row for Shin-Soo Choo. Every game that he started since the All-Star break. A stretch during which he's seen his on-base percentage jump into the top 5 in the majors in that stretch from the All-Star break to now.
Well, that is certainly what the Texas Rangers paid for when they picked up Shin-Soo Choo a couple of years ago in the offseason, giving him that 7-year contract. It was his ability to get on base. Sometimes seeing him up over 400, 423 going into his free agent year. He's been so good and so consistent. Once he started playing full time after he got out of Seattle and got over to Cleveland, put up some really nice years getting on base, but also showing some power. He's had 3 seasons where he's hit at least 20 home runs. Been a really good player, and it's been good for the Texas Rangers, good for him to see him bounce back in the second half.
Kind of hard to believe that, we're talking about Wolf and how long his career is. Wolf's big league debut came only 1 year before Shin-Soo Choo signed his contract with the Mariners in 2000.
Well, that was back when, and now we've seen Jung Ho Kang come out of the KBO, but before that, every Korean player that we'd seen, Chan Ho Park, Chu, Hee-Sop Choi, those guys were all signed as amateurs.
Randy Wolf finishes his night with a pair of strikeouts. Well, he said finishes his night last time and we were wrong, so why don't we just not make any assumptions about this guy who's retired 15 of the last 16 and has 5 Ks. Tigers need some offense. 4-0 they trail. Bottom of the 7th, back in Detroit. 8-9-1 for the Tigers. Jose Iglesias swinging at the first one from Gallardo towards right center and a base hit. Simple enough way to begin this 7th inning for the Tigers. Iglesias with his first hit of the series, and up comes Anthony Gose.
It's kind of a weird reaction from Shin-Soo Choo on this ball. If he lost it in the lights, he's obviously not trying to fool any runners. There's nobody on base. I don't know if he necessarily would have caught that ball. Maybe he would have had a chance to dive at it. Weird reaction from Chu. I guess he lost that one in the lights.
Jeff Bannister going to make a move to the bullpen. Looks like Jake Diekman gets ready to come in a 4-0 game. This bullpen that has been a problem most of the season has locked things down as of late. Try to do the same for Gallardo tonight. Gallardo leaves with a 4-0 lead.
Well, he ends up giving 6+ innings, and early on it was about keeping the ball off the barrel of the bat, having the Tigers off balance, and then when he needed to, getting the swings and misses, elevating the fastball. We saw a couple of strikeouts looking on well-located fastballs in. And Giovanni Gallardo delivers now just his second start in his last 7 where he's gone at least 6 innings. But you like that line. You see the no runs. He works around the 8 hits and the 1 walk. He is responsible for Iglesias on first base.
Jake Diekman was the other guy in the Cole Hamels deal and quietly has been a really important piece for the Rangers. Left-hander faces Rajai Davis, pinch hitting out of the 9th spot for Anthony Gose. Brad Ausmus saying, I don't think that's going to be fun to go up there as a lefty facing Diekman, so let's go to our right-handed hitting center fielder instead.
And it's a smart choice, and Diekman's got some great stuff. You saw the first pitch fastball at 95 miles an hour, and he can get it up a little bit higher than that. 97 there. The issue for him has been command control even within the strike zone. But as we were talking to Jeff Bannister before the game, he feels like this atmosphere change has been good for him. He's been in Philadelphia. They haven't been competitive. And a lot of times when you come from that kind of environment and get thrown into this one, your focus will go up a little bit. Diekman's been much better. He's not walking nearly as many guys, even though it is somewhat of a small sample size.
0-2. Blows it by Davis at 96. Makes quick work of the pinch hitter, 1 away.
Well, this was 3 fastballs, and the final one elevating on an 0-2 count. Rajai Davis coming off the bench, unable to catch up with that heat.
So now back to the top of the order, where he'll see and Kinsler in a 4-0 game in the 7th. Kinsler had a bloop double his last time. Bats with Iglesias at first and 1 away. Takes strike 1 on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. '96 again, 0-2.
5 straight fastballs, 5 strikes, and it's almost hard to believe that this was a guy who was walking nearly 6 batters per 9 innings. when he was in Philadelphia. We haven't seen it yet, but he's got a great breaking ball to go with it. He knows how to spin it. The rotation is tight. This could end up being a huge plus for the Rangers, especially if they find their way in the postseason this year.
First ball that he's thrown. It's 1-2 on Kinsler. Over the last week, this bullpen for the Rangers has given up just 1 earned run over 16 1/3 worked. Overall this year, second worst in the American League, better only than the A's. Kinsler flexes one towards right center, hangs up for Chu, who had trouble with a similar type flight earlier in this inning, but finds this one and puts Kinsler away. Tomorrow, 2 of the UFC's hottest rising stars face off. Elite featherweight destroyer Max Holloway takes on dangerous double threat Charles Oliveira. The welterweight showdown between Neil Magny and Eric Silva. Catch UFC Fight Night tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. Also streams live on Fox Sports Go. Promising start to this inning with a base hit for Iglesias. Davis with a strikeout. Kinsler with a flyout. Collins takes one that bounces for ball 1. 0 for 3 tonight, hitless in 7 trips up in this series.
We talked about Collins getting an opportunity to get some playing time. This is not going to be a fun at bat for him. He'll struggle to stay in here. That good fastball. Flinched a little bit.
Yeah. High 90s fastball out of that left-handed slot. Spent 12 through 15 with the Phillies before coming over at the deadline with Cole Hamels. Brings a 1-1. That is that slider, but it just misses. 2 balls and a strike.
And that's well located. 1-1. He was trying to throw this pitch for a strike, but you see the angle that he comes at. Sweeps that ball, just finishes off the plate. Now it'll be interesting to me to see where he goes with this next fastball. Likely a fastball coming. So difficult after seeing that spinner.
It was a fastball and it was fouled off. 2-2. 98, hardest that he's thrown in his first inning of work. Dropped to that sidearm slot when he was a minor leaguer in the Phillies system. Pitching some of the best baseball of his big league career and his time with the Rangers. His 2-2 somehow fouled off.
You see Collins how late he is, trying to be short to that pitch because you have to protect against the breaking ball as well. And that's what gets so tricky when you have a guy that's touching 97, 98 miles an hour, and then he flips you a breaking ball at 85 miles an hour. And you're thinking about that. He's seen it once now. It's in the back of his head. He's going to see it again right here.
It's a good at-bat for Tyler Collins, trying to keep it alive for Miguel Cabrera.
And you see the big exhale because he knows that he's battled and he's worked hard, but it's not over yet. Now it's a matter of if he gets a pitch in the strike zone, obviously he has to go after it, but if he throws that breaking ball again or a fastball that's off the edges, will he be able to lay off of it? That's going to be the challenge.
Iglesias leads off of first and will take off on this 3-2. Collins grounds it foul, and we'll do it again. When Diekman and Hamels came over from the Phillies, Hamels of course had a few days before he needed to be ready to pitch. They arrived at the ballpark in the first inning after traveling over from Philly. Diekman was in the game in the 7th that night to make his Rangers debut and did it impressively with a shutout inning in 2/3. Collins slaps it to Beltre, and that does it for the Tigers in the 7th. They strand another. Diekman comes on and leaves him at first, still 4-0. Detroit, a town that he spent much of his childhood in with his dad playing for the Tigers. You were at the ballpark for a lot of these sessions.
Yeah,
huh?
Terry Francona throwing batting practice right there. It was unbelievable to see him at 12 years old leaving Old Tiger Stadium. Not there, that's a ground ball, but he was impressive as a 12-year-old, and he is equally as impressive as a major leaguer.
This is Drew Verhagen, who drops a curve low, ball one. It is appearance number 3 this season for Verhagen, so you see his minor league numbers. In his outings in the majors this year, he's allowed 3 runs in 2 innings of work. 1-1.
And you really can't help but wonder how many pitches he actually did throw in that bullpen.
Oh.
And the other thing that people don't think about, your adrenaline goes up. Every time that phone rings, as a reliever sitting down there, your heart starts to beat a little bit faster, and you start thinking about coming in the game and trying to get ready and pace yourself, and then all of a sudden you're told, never mind, sit down. And then it happens again, and it can be difficult, it can be draining, especially when you're young,
right?
And trying to figure out that process and when to get all the way ready and when to save some, leave it in the tank. It's not the easiest thing to do.
This is still so new. It's only his 4th big league appearance. Did Fielder chase? He did. 2-2. Made 1 appearance last year, and on July 5th came up and allowed 2 runs in just 1 inning of work against Toronto. Was sent right back down. Caught up again earlier this week. Fielder chops one to left. Collins is there, shy of the track for the first out of the 8th inning. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium. It's the #1 live streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device, visit MLB.TV for details. Tim Dyson. We saw Diekman. Those 2 additions into the Rangers bullpen have been huge for their resurgence here in the month of August. Beltre bailing out on a curve from Verhagen, strike 1.
See him looking back and smiling a little bit. Was probably sitting fastball, thinking about taking a big swing on the first pitch of the at-bat. That was not a fastball.
That was. Verhagen trying to do what Wolf couldn't, that is retire Beltre. Singled in all 3 trips up. Popped up, back of first. Cabrera in foul ground. Has it for the 2nd out. So Verhagen replacing Randy Wolf, who went 7 innings, gave up those 4 runs. They all came in the 3rd. You get rid of that, it was a dazzling outing.
It was a really good one, and he was the prototypical crafty lefty, working both sides of the plate, throwing that cutter a lot, and outside of that 3rd inning when he allowed the 4 runs, everything else was really good. And the fact that he was able to get into the 7th inning, we see a lot of cutters, a lot of sliders, picked off Adrian Beltre, which was always a nice thing to have when you're sitting there in trouble and working with guys on base, but no walks is what sticks out. And the fact that he even struck a couple out at the end, we thought he was done. Then he goes back out there for that 7th inning and picks up 2 strikeouts.
Retired 15 of the last 16 that he faced after those 5 straight singles to score the 4 runs in the 3rd. And only an Adrian Beltre single blemished the final 5 innings of his game. Now Verhagen working quickly and confidently. Must be warm.
It's nice to be young.
1-1. 2 balls and a strike on Napoli.
Well, I thought something interesting that Jeff Bannister said to us before the game when talking about his offense and saying if we can score 3 runs in an inning, history tells us they're going to win about 85% of the time. And that's what they have done tonight. They actually scored 4 in that 3rd inning, and right now lining up here for a potential win. And it was an interesting number, one I'd never thought about before. Obviously something that they've kind of drawn their own conclusion, but his point was he's trying to get his team to believe in that and understanding that each of your at-bats connects to one of your teammates, whether it's the guy before or the guy after, and it's not just your solo at-bat. Trying to focus on playing for that big inning and getting those 3 runs. Things would work in their favor.
Iglesias for a 1-2-3 8th inning for Drew Verhagen. Meat of the Tigers order coming up. Cabrera, Martinez down 4-0. They need some offense in a hurry. Rangers scored in the third inning against Randy Wolf. Tigers have had opportunities against Giovanni Gallardo, but have gone 0 for 7 with men in scoring position, and have now gone 18 consecutive innings without a run. They bring the meat of the order up in this 8th inning against a new pitcher, Sam Dyson, who has emerged as the 8th inning guy for this Rangers squad since they acquired him at the deadline.
We see that kind of pickup, another kind of under the radar move here for the Texas Rangers, but one that has helped solidify their bullpen. Dyson, another hard throw. You'll see him sitting around 96 miles an hour. Also uses his changeup and his slider well, but he has been a nice addition here for the Texas Rangers.
A couple of former Marlins going at it as he faces Miguel Cabrera. And starts him with a fastball at 97, strike one. Cabrera's 2 for 3 tonight, doubled in the first, singled in the third. Right now just needs to get on base.
Now, this is a 4-run game, right? So it's not necessarily a save situation, but it's a good time, I think, to have that conversation about who do you want throwing, getting your biggest outs right now, right? You have to go through the middle of the Detroit Tigers lineup here in the 8th inning. The closers are always heralded as the guys that are making the most money, supposedly getting the biggest outs, getting those last 3, which is a difficult thing to do. But right now, for Sam Dyson, he has the toughest job coming out of that bullpen. And that's going to have to go through these 3 very tough hitters.
Spears this one from Cabrera for the first out.
Kind of just play hockey goalie and react, and stick your glove out, and hope that the ball goes into it. That's a nice first out to get. When you have these kind of innings and it starts off with Miguel Cabrera, you can retire him to kick it off. It certainly makes things much easier.
Brings up Victor Martinez, and you touched on what is a bigger discussion, and that is, moving forward, should we look at bullpens differently? Should your best pitcher, your quote-unquote closer, pitch in the highest leverage, most important situation of the game, or should they be reserved to close games in the ninth?
Well, I've certainly come around on this compared to when I was playing, because I always believe the closer, the best pitcher, should be getting those last 3 outs, because you've seen guys, good pitchers, that can't get those last 3 outs. There have been some great setup men that are not good closers, but as I watch the game develop a little bit more and I step back and I watch more baseball, it makes a lot more sense to me, especially if there's runners on base and you have your Dylan Betances in your bullpen or whoever you may have. You need your best arms out there in the biggest situations.
Martinez bounces out unassisted to Napoli, 2 away. Checking with Chris Myers for a game break. I don't think they're getting it back, Chris.
Can't have it. It's one of my few prized possessions. Not a big collector, but there's a couple of neat little items, and that's one.
Painting was a gift. I'm taking it with me. Name that movie.
Oh, wait.
Wedding Crashers.
Oh,
come on, CJ. I put you on the spot.
I got 3 kids, man. I don't have time to watch movies.
J.D. Martinez takes low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris gave you the Astros update. They've won 3 of 4. They lead the West, where the Rangers enter the day 4 out. Half game behind the Angels, both in the division and for the second wild card spot. 1-1 to J.D. Martinez. A low strike, and it's 1-2. Jeff Bannister's team, which was 9 back in the division on July 21st, 7 back in the wild card hunt, has trimmed it down to this into the late portions of the season. 1-2 to Martinez. Do it again.
You talked about them being hot and cold. There is no room for that now. Not at this point in the season. They can't afford, the Texas Rangers cannot afford to have that dip. They cannot afford to have struggles in the bullpen of the offense go cold on them. They've made a nice run, and we're talking about them as a wild card team. You know they're thinking about trying to win a division.
Alex Avila on the phone.
Future manager in the works?
Perhaps. Another 1-2 to J.D. Martinez. Got him swinging. It was Diekman in the 7th. It was Dyson in the 8th. These 2 new pieces for the Rangers, changing the way they feel in the late innings and changing their prospects down the stretch. Visit MLB.com/tickets today. Rangers 4, Tigers nothing. Top of the 9th inning. And a major league debut for Guido Knudsen into the game for the Tigers. Nice low pressure situation for him to make his big league debut.
Absolutely. And even though it is a low pressure situation, it's not for him. The adrenaline is up. This is what you've worked your entire life for. And now here's that opportunity, and family and friends, if they're not here, they're watching on television, they are equally as nervous. What a wonderful moment it is for every player that gets to step on the big league field for the first time.
Right-hander from California would become the closer in AAA Toledo. Got called up on Thursday. And his first batter that'll face is Elvis Andrus. His 6, 7, and 8 come up for the Rangers, trying to add on to this 4-0 lead. Work out of the stretch at all times. And a fastball tails in for ball 1. Andrus 1 for 3 today, singled back in the second, and has grounded out twice since. There's a strike. It's a slider that he says deserves the credit for his breakout this year in the minors, where he became a closer for the first time, and the development of that pitch has been huge for him.
Getting away from the cutter, which was his original kind of go-to pitch, and he felt like he needed something with a little bit more depth on it, which makes a ton of sense. And as we see it there, and that one kind of backs up a little bit and fools Elvis Andrus, but he's absolutely right. As a 2-pitch pitcher coming out of the pen, you want to make sure you have something that you can change levels on, and the cutter a lot of times has a tendency to stay flat. So working that slider and getting some tilt will be a huge plus for him.
And he strikes out Andrus to begin his big league career. Congratulations to Guido Knudsen. Can't get off to a better start than that. Well, college football returns to Fox Sports 1 when former Michigan quarterback Jim Harbaugh takes the Wolverines to Salt Lake City to take on Utah. That is now 12 days away. September 3rd, right here on Fox Sports 1. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt on the call from Rice-Eccles Stadium, which you better believe will be sold out and rocking. One of the great atmospheres in college football to kick off the season 12 days from now. With one away, here's Rougned Odor. Of course, when football season starts up, what that means for baseball is stretch run.
That's right, absolutely. It's getting to be that good time of year. We've got some great races going on now down the stretch. We've been talking about that American League wild card, division races. What we don't have is one of those in baseball.
No.
Make a phone call. Let's get one for the postseason.
A bus with a Sharpie and khakis and a belt.
That's great.
Even Cletus hanging out. Look at that, the play card.
Is that weird to be in there? Can you see out of that bus if you're inside it?
If the zipper's undone.
Oh, I wish you didn't say that.
2-1 on Odor. Odor 1 for 3 today. Singled his first time up, a fly out to center in the 3rd inning, and did the same in the 6th. That ball is hammered. Martinez doesn't even move. A majestic shot for Rougned Odor, his 10th of the season, and it's 5-0.
Well, 2 batters so far for Knudsen, and gets the strikeout and the home run, get a couple of firsts out of the way. Odor, a guy we haven't talked about a lot tonight because it's been a quiet night, but he has had a great kind of emergence since coming back from the minor leagues. And look at that huge swing on the fastball down and into lefties. We talk about it all the time. That is not the place that you want to go. He knew it right away. He knew it right away, and everyone puts their head down, and they're going to hit him, let him hit him far.
So Odor with his 10th home run of the season. And now the 8-hitter Bobby Wilson fouling one back, strike 1. We talked to Jeff Bannister before the game about Odor. This guy was the opening day's second baseman, but hit just 144 in his first month and was sent down to the minors. Since coming back up in mid-June, he's been their best hitter statistically, hitting above 330. Jeff Bannister said he simply wasn't the guy that they advertised to him, and Bannister took this job. Said he was a guy that they described as a scrapper, a guy that played with a chip on his shoulder. And he asked Odor, where did that chip go during the first month or so when he hit just 144? Odor basically said he didn't want to rub people the wrong way. Bannister had to explain to him that, look, the only people you're rubbing the wrong way or bothering with your chip is the other team, and that's okay.
Absolutely. I remember watching him a little bit last year, and you saw that edge to him, and he looked comfortable for a young player at 20 years old in the big leagues.
Wilson lifts a fly ball to left for Collins. He's there. 2 gone.
And you can appreciate the fact that he is at least thinking about maybe wanting to portray himself a little bit more humbly. But I agree exactly with what Jeff Bannister said. Don't worry about necessarily pleasing your opponents. It doesn't matter what they think, right? If you're doing well and you're ticking them off in the process, so be it. If there's something you shouldn't be doing, your teammates will let you know. There's some veterans on this team. They'll kind of reel you in a little bit, but you don't want to lose your edge either. There is a confidence that you have to play at this level. If that means you wear it on the outside, so be it. And it was good to see him go down and come back and be successful. A lot of people worry about sending young players down. How are they going to handle that demotion? But he's bounced back greatly, and it certainly has worked in his favor.
He's the youngest everyday position player last year in the majors at just 20. 0-1 to Strasburger. This is away. Ball and a strike.
I think, the generation has changed, right? It's so much different now, and I think you can say that about each generation, but it's okay. We see way more celebrations. We see guys that show their emotions a lot more, and I think you see players, especially teammates, that are more tolerant of it. It used to be when you were a rookie, you were to be seen and not heard, and you wouldn't have any kind of outward emotion in your game, but it's not like that anymore, and I think that's okay. Whatever you have to do to be successful.
Sliders and knee buckler, 2-2. Strasburger 0 for 3 today. Knudsen trying to finish off his first big league inning with the strikeout. Bookend K's in his opening frame in a big league uniform, but they surrounded this. A blast from Odor and a 5-0 Rangers lead to the bottom of the 9th in Detroit. Nothing lead as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Comerica Park. Joe Davis, C.J. Nitkowski, and Nick Castellanos set to lead off this inning against Sam Dyson, who stays in with a 5-run lead. 1, 2, 3, 8th inning for him, and he starts the 9th with ball 1.
Look at the movement on that pitch at 95 miles an hour from Dyson, and that was a conversation, another one we were having with Jeff Bannister before the game. We see a lot of velocity now in the major leagues, but when you can have the combination of velocity and movement, it's a deadly combination. That is unbelievable.
It's got like change-up, nasty change-up movement, but it's a fastball.
It's like a split finger at 95. Impressive.
Castellanos, couple of hits today, continuing his mini hot streak. And Dyson has missed with the first 3 fastballs, 3-0. Tigers trying to snap an 18-inning scoreless drought. This is the same team that scored 25 runs in 2 games in Detroit or in Chicago this week. They'll take here. Strike 1.
Well, this is exactly how the Texas Rangers now want to draw things up, where they can get length out of their starting pitcher and then set up the bullpen now the way that they want to. They didn't have that earlier in the year, but now they're in a position where if the starters do their job, they're confident that they can finish out games.
Normally they go to Sean Thomason in the 9th inning. He got the save last night. His 24th of the season, but with a 5-run lead, why use him? Especially with as efficient of an inning as Dyson had in the 8th. Got behind Castellanos, 3-0. He's worked it to 3-2. And a bouncing ball, well positioned was Odor. Away. They're legends, icons, and warriors. And starting next month, 2 of the biggest names in the UFC will face off as coaches. As interim featherweight champion Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber join an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter. The mayhem begins Wednesday, September 9th, only on Fox Sports 1. James McCann. Takes ball 1. So the Rangers 2 outs away from getting their 8th win out of their last 10. Only the Blue Jays have been better over the last month in the American League. And depending on the results, the Angels game tonight, a chance for the Rangers to jump into that second wild card spot. Still plenty of baseball to be played. If the Astros hold on against the Dodgers, the Rangers hold on here, it would remain 4 games in the division. That's a foul ball, and it's 1-2. Tigers, meanwhile, barring a big comeback as they argue this. Omar Vizquel down there at 3rd talking with Brian Knight. And a hit right here.
McCann did not want to come back and hit again because he believed that he already had a hit. It does not appear that they're going to take a look at this. Now, anything before the base is unreviewable. They cannot review that. So in that situation, no replay.
Tigers trailed 5 teams for that second wild card coming into the game, 3.5 back. It's not the deficit, it's the depth between them and where they want to go. That's the issue with about a month and a half left. Dyson to McCann with a 1-2 pitch. And went from thinking he had a double to striking out. 2 gone in the 9th. Tonight's play of the game is fueled by Gatorade, and it was launched a long way. The home run from Rougned Odor, which really was just window dressing on what is now a 5-0 lead, but it was impressive.
It was, and it was a front door 2-seam fastball down and in the lefties. I don't love it. And Odor absolutely crushes it to right field, and right off the bat, everybody knew. And still such a young man, only 21 years old, but showing that kind of power right now. You know that the Rangers are excited about his potential future.
Iglesias takes strike 1. Tomorrow, Cole Hamels gets the ball for the Rangers. Make his 4th start in a Rangers uniform. The number is not great so far. 0-1 with a .523 over his first 3. Tigers will send Matt Boyd to the mound in the finale. Softly hit. Beltre hopes that it rolls foul, but it nestles in there. And Beltre playfully kicks it foul. And it's an infield single for Iglesias to keep the night going.
It's good effort here by Adrian Beltre, but he knows with that thick grass, you see how close the foul line is to the grass here, that ball's not going to go foul. And that's not going to get it done either.
Nobody saw that, right? Foul ball.
You can't get away with anything these days.
Rajai Davis pinch hit for Anthony Gose against Jake Diekman in the 7th and struck out on 3 pitches. Hunter takes off and Iglesias takes second without a throw. Tigers started the day 14 back in the Central. Kansas City running away with it. What will be their first division title since 1985 and would snap the longest drought in baseball as far as division titles. Bouncing ball up the middle. Odor behind the bag, has no play at first. Throws behind Iglesias, who's safe at third. So back-to-back infield singles and back to the top of the order. Tigers not quitting.
Rajai Davis did not hit this ball hard, and we talk about the heavy sink of Dyson. But on the ground with Davis's speed, there's going to be absolutely no play at first, and Odor makes a smart decision not to even try to throw that ball.
And Jeff Bannister not going to toy around any longer. Here he comes out of that Rangers dugout, and he will go, it appears, to his closer, Sean Tollison. Tigers need a couple of more base runners, but if they can get them, Miguel Cabrera would represent the tying run. All season, but 2 days before that, kick it off in style with Michigan and Utah right here on Fox Sports 1. Sean Tollison into the game, trying to put an end to this. Back-to-back infield singles chasing Sam Dyson. Tigers at the corners, still down to their final out. With Tollison looking at the top of the order, and Ian Kinsler trying to keep the line moving. And Kinsler hammers a ball left field and deep. That ball is gone. Not done yet.
Ian Kinsler wastes no time. We've been talking about how well he has been hitting in the second half and being aggressive on the first pitch fastball that he saw. And Tollefson wants to come out and make sure he throws a first pitch strike, trying to go down and away, but misses middle. But Ian Kinsler does not miss that one and crushes it. And all of a sudden now the Tigers have life. My DraftKings guy coming through with a homer and a double.
And now if Tyler Collins can reach, Miguel Cabrera would come up representing the tying run. That one floats in, strike one. That snaps a 19-inning scoreless streak for the Tigers. But is it too little, too late?
And kind of interesting for anybody that cares with Tollefson coming in. Not a save situation because the tying run was not on deck. The fourth run was on deck, so even though now it's a 5-3 game and it was 5-0, had he come in one hitter later and the inning was still going, the bases were loaded, it would have been a safe situation. This is not. Although that's not how Jeff Bannister is thinking right now.
Collins hitless tonight, down 0-2. Cabrera waits on deck. Takes one that bounces and gets a piece of Wilson, ball one. With the home run from Kinsler, now it's easier to look at the chances the Tigers had earlier in this game and slip through their fingertips. Time and time again, they had opportunities but left 8 men on base tonight. 1-2 to Collins. Fastball missed his spot because of it. Fooled Vic Carapazza, the home plate umpire. 2-2.
Well, this one was really close, and they were trying to elevate here, and Tollefson misses down. And probably not a strike, but if you're set up down, you got a much better chance of getting that called.
Got him swinging, and a bit of drama in the 9th inning goes for nothing. Kinsler hits a 3-run homer, but Tollefson slams the door, and the Rangers have taken 2 of the first 3 in this one and 8 of their last 10. 5-3 the final score from Detroit. Fox Sports Live starts right now.